Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Farooq Hassan is back with a new episode of Sky is the Limit. Today I am privileged to interview an old friend of mine who has a lot of accolades on his shoulders. He has the Order of the British Empire and he's doing a lot of stuff with regarding the minorities, and he's also a member of the National Commission for Minorities. Mr. Albert David, my childhood friend, let me introduce him to you. Assalamu alaikum, Albert.
Alaikum assalam. How are you, Farooq?
I'm good, and it's always a pleasure to see you.
And thank you for having me on your show.
It's an honor. Albert, you've done so much, I know you as a friend, but when I saw your profile, and I was just wondering that how come I didn't know all this stuff that he has done over these years. That's amazing, and that's why I think the team decided that you should be invited as a guest to this program, Sky is the Limit. So first of all, currently your current assignment is as a member of the National Commission for Minorities.
Yes.
So for the ease of our viewers, I would like you to kindly explain what is the National Commission for Minorities, and being a member, what does it entail?
Okay. Once again, thank you, Farooq, and giving me this opportunity to talk, not only to talk about myself, but about some of the work that I've been doing and how it impacts the minorities and especially the youth of Pakistan. The National Commission for Minorities is the highest advisory body of the government on the issue of minorities. The main role of the commission is to advise government on the issues related to minorities in Pakistan. When I say minorities, this is the religious minorities in Pakistan.
Religious minorities, and it includes all religions.
All religions, people who are of other faith other than the Muslims in Pakistan. So as I've said, it is the highest advisory body to the government. We advise the government on issues related to minorities, on the, some of the legal issues which relate to the minorities in Pakistan. We help the government on formulating the policy on interfaith. We have currently done a document for the government which is called the Interfaith Harmony Policy. And basically it is going to cover the work of interfaith harmony in Pakistan by the central government, but working with the provinces as well. So the main idea of the National Commission is to advise government on the issues related to the minorities and take action into anything that happens in Pakistan which somehow affects the minorities.
Okay, and it could be an unpleasant incident also, or it could be a pleasant.
Whatever. It could be an unpleasant or pleasant, yes.
Okay,
both,
so we're going to talk about that
Sure.
also. And being a member, how many members does it have?
We are, at the minute, we've got 4 Hindu members, 4 Christian members, we've got 2 Sikh members, 1 Parsi, 1 Kailash member, and then we've got 2 Muslim members as well.
Oh, so from all the faiths?
It's from all the faiths, and we are working on its legislation, and once the legislation is done, the scope would be more wider. We are including other faiths who are not currently represented on the commission. They will be included as well.
Okay, great. So, Albert, run us down the journey of your life. How come an individual living in a slightly remoter area of Pakistan, a smaller city of Pakistan, made it to being awarded the Order of the British Empire? That is one of the highest awards given by the United Kingdom, government of United Kingdom. How did you manage to reach to that level? I'm sure the viewers would like to get inspiration from your story.
Basically, Farooq, it's a journey of hard work. It's a journey of commitment, and a commitment in a way that, whatever I believed in, I had a commitment towards it, and I wanted to fulfill it. Whether it was my personal life or whether, I wanted to do something for my community. Okay. So, a real Pindi boy.
A real Pindi boy?
A real Pindi boy, born here, educated here, went to school, St. Mary's over here, then went to the college, Cotton College over here. So, worked over here. So, all my life is Rawalpindi.
So your first school was St. Mary's, as you mentioned. So, were you like a naughty kid in school, or were you the extracurricular guy, individual who's heavily participating into sports?
I think I was one of those students who are sort of, who fit in all categories.
Okay,
You
jack
know,
of all.
Exactly. Sort of, I was a good student, I think, but then I took part in, whether it was the extracurricular activities, taking dramatics, whether it was singing,
Debating.
Debating as well. I represented my school in their cricket team. Then I went to college and then represented the college in the cricket team. So I was someone who wanted to explore everything.
Okay, and you managed to do that
And
eventually.
Eventually.
Okay.
So yes, and the other thing, the interesting thing is that from my nursery till 10th, I think I changed 5 schools.
5?
At least 5.
Okay.
These are the ones that I remember.
What was the reason?
I started with Playway Nursery in
Okay.
in Lal Kurti. Then I went to St. John's. Then I went to Station School. Then I went to St. James in Murray. And then I came to St. Mary's.
Was it that, none of these schools was good enough for you, or were you like...
No, they didn't like me. No, it was just sort of parents moving to Murray. Murray was that.
Okay.
But otherwise, sort of, I had to leave Station School because it was for boys. It was only till class 3. Then I had to switch to St. John's. And then when I came back from when I was in Murray, the school was till only 8th class. So I had to come back to St. Mary's to do my metric. Okay. So and even in college, I started with Gordon College and then went to Murray.
Okay.
And then came back to Gordon College.
Wow.
So I've got lots of experience on that.
So tell me, I was just reminiscing and recalling the old days. I remember when we were kids and we used to go to school, we had a lot of class fellows who belonged to the to other sects also, and we used to live in perfect harmony. How is your childhood? How do you remember your school days and your college days? Was there any discrimination, or were you as important Pakistani as the others?
Personally, I've not faced discrimination at that level.
Yeah.
Again, sort of, I had friends like you. Other friends. We are still friends. We've still got a metric group going on.
Intact.
And we meet and we sort of, get-togethers and everything. And the college time as well.
Yeah.
I think that was a different Pakistan altogether. I'm talking about sort of the 80s, but if we just go a few years back in the 70s and the late 60s, that was a completely different Pakistan. Pakistan has changed, I think, since the 80s.
Okay.
I think when we talk about the discrimination, the extremism, and all of that, I think that is a byproduct of the 80s and the process.
A lot of things came in.
A lot of things came, and that changed the social. I would say the social fabric of Pakistan. Again, sort of, since 80s, my youth, and then coming into the middle age, I've seen issues. I might have not faced them, personally, but around me, I have seen that Pakistan has changed.
Okay.
The people of Pakistan have changed. There have been issues which have been of concern.
Yeah.
There have been good.
And you did a report on one also, the Salkot lynching.
I did.
Yes,
I did.
That.
And that was based on that. So as a young person, I would say no, I did not face any discrimination. Okay. And I think it was basically that influence of the 70s coming, and we were growing up over there. No, but later in life, I have not, if not personally, but yes, as I've said, I've seen.
We'll definitely talk about that. So you went to college and you were you specialized in what? In medicine or in engineering or arts or what?
Simply arts.
Arts.
Yeah,
by that. That was by choice?
That was by choice. Okay. I wanted to.
Very intelligent students, they opt for medicine.
I wanted to go into the army.
You wanted to go in the army?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I tried.
Okay.
Couldn't clear ISSB.
Okay.
And then it was, I had no interest then.
So your dream was broken.
Exactly.
And you said that, okay, now I'll do whatever comes my way.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then I sort of, it was a complete change, but it was a dream. I wanted to sort of, have that uniform.
My God. Okay. It's that. And did you prepare for it?
I did. I don't know what happened. Maybe sort of it was not the day.
Okay.
But you have bad days.
Yeah, you have bad days.
You have bad days. So maybe it was not the day. But I think if
you never tried again?
I never tried again.
Okay.
I was so disappointed because I did sort of just try once, and I went with full preparation as far as I'm concerned. I didn't make it, So I think that was, for me, that was it.
Setback.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So then you went in, did your graduation.
Then I went and then did my graduation.
And then what happened?
Then what happened, Farooq, that is
Turning point in your
turning
life.
point in my life in a way that, as a family, we had a low time at that time. My father had a school in Murray,
Okay.
right, and we were doing very well. But as with any other business, things went back.
Spikes and troughs.
Exactly, it went back. So soon after, no, I wouldn't say soon after my graduation. I was still doing my graduation, and due to the conditions and the circumstances, family circumstances, I had to work. So I started working because I had to support my family. I'm the only child in the family.
Oh, you're the only son
The
and
only
the
son,
only child.
the only child.
Okay.
Right. So that was a time when I thought my father needed support. So I just started working, and since then,
Right after graduation.
Right after. Whilst doing my graduation.
Oh, while doing it.
Whilst doing my graduation,
Okay.
and I still remember the first job I got. My salary was 1,200.
1,200 rupees per month.
Per month.
Okay, okay.
Right.
And what kind of a job was it?
It was. You might have heard about the Shangri-La resorts.
Yeah.
They had an office on Murray Road.
Yes.
So I was just, I got a job over there as a receptionist.
At the reception. Yeah. Okay, and it's good learning. In student life, you tend to do a lot of things just to get the experience.
Exactly.
So
I started,
okay.
and the journey it never stopped from there.
Okay.
And I've seen, I saw lots of lows in that time.
Okay.
Another job which I did, and I had to travel. I had to change 5 public transport
To reach
get
there.
To reach there.
Okay, it was that far.
It was that far. I was living on Adiala Road, and I had to come to Peshawar Mode in Islamabad, and I had to change 5 vehicles in the morning and in the evening.
Oh my God.
And the job I had was, I was working in a documentation center, and I had a room like this. I sat in the middle of the room, and I just did press clippings.
Just did press here.
Just did.
Must not be a very exciting job.
It wasn't. Morning till evening. I went there, picked up a bundle, did press clippings, pasted them, filed them, and that was it.
Okay.
But my commitment over there was that this is what I've been offered by him. And if he's given me this, then I should do it with full commitment.
Wow.
And he will bless me from here. You won't believe, from being that very, a person who's got nothing to do with others in the office, sitting, in this basement on his own, within 2 years, I was heading that documentation center.
Wow.
I was the head of the documentation center. And that was just the commitment and the hard work.
No matter what work it is, if you have the dedication and commitment, you should add value to it, and you should try and rise.
Exactly.
Okay.
Certainly, and this was basically my schooling, which came. Because of the schooling in the English medium schools, I had this sort of, English sort of a thing.
You're fluent in that. Communication skills.
The communication skills. And I was picked just because of that. Sort of, I can represent the organization in international gatherings, in seminars and stuff. Oh. And they offered me, and I got it. And, and when I think about it, Farooq, and I still share it with young people that, you don't get things in plate. You have to work hard.
You have to work for them. There are no shortcuts in life. No shortcuts. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. And that's where sort of I started believing that, if you accept what God offers you, He makes a way through it.
Wow.
And that's the whole crux of my story. From there, I got an opportunity to work with the British High Commission. It was just a normal
From that press clipping job.
Okay. I became the head of that documentation center. I did that for about 2 years, and then I got a job at the British High Commission. I went for that. I started, as one of the interpreters. Again, sort of, the communication and everything.
Okay.
And the first day that I started my job, I looked at my grade, and the first thing I said over there is, "This is not my grade.
I deserve better.
I deserve better, and I will." And you believe me that within years, I was on the top grade at the British High Commission.
I think you reached the highest level.
I reached the highest
that
level.
a Pakistani can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the story of MBE is also, very interesting.
Yes,
And I'll
please
tell you.
enlighten us.
Okay, so what really happened is, while I was being introduced to staff in the High Commission, one of my colleagues took me to this gentleman's office, salt and pepper here, very graceful, sitting behind his desk, and I was introduced.
Akbar Sahab?
No, it was Mr. Lodi.
Mr. Lodi, okay.
Mr. Lodi, Mr.
Okay.
Sadiq Lodi.
Okay.
Right, and I was introduced to Mr. Sadiq Lodi, saying that Mr. Sadiq Lodi, head of I think he was the head of media team at that time, and Mr. Lodi has been awarded MBE by the Queen. And Mr.
just
Lodi
sounded music to your ears.
Exactly. And I was told that he had worked for 33 years in the High Commission, and then he got his MBE, and I was like, wow. Standing there, I said inside, if Mr. Lodi can get an MBE,
Albert David can also.
David can
Okay.
get an MBE. And you won't believe,
How long did
within
it take
10
you?
years of
10
my
years.
service, I was awarded MBE, conferred MBE by the Queen.
Wow. And what were the achievements that you did for which you were awarded this prestigious award?
Basically, it was the work on forced marriages.
Oh, okay.
Right, and this was the forced marriages of young boys and girls coming from the UK into Pakistan, and their families then forcing them into marriages against their will. So it was the work that I did on that. I mean, it was. At that time, it was declared as the cutting-edge work on forced marriages. I was able to contribute to the overall policy on forced marriages. I think helped hundreds of girls and boys to escape a forced marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's a contribution.
It was because
And that was recognized
that was
by
recognized at the highest
government
level.
at the highest level, and the
Yes.
Queen then conferred
Exactly,
this.
exactly. And it didn't end over there. In 2009, my team won the UK Civil Service Award for Innovation and Diversity.
Oh, okay.
So that
Tell
was-
us something about that.
Yeah, the UK Civil Service Award is an award which is given to a team or an individual sort of who have done something, whether they've been innovative, whether they have shown diversity in their work, in reaching out to sort of people, whether sort of, they've used innovative works to, to perform their duties, not just the regular bureaucratic stuff, being innovative, sitting over there and being innovative. And this award, nominations come from the whole of the UK civil service,
Oh, okay.
whether back in the UK or abroad.
Anywhere.
And we won. We won 2 awards, one for innovation, and the other was on the overall UK Civil Service Award.
Wow. You must be a very efficient team then, huh?
I still.
Are they still all with you?
Oh yes, and I enjoy working.
Very good, very good. So tell me about this report that you made on the Sialkot lynching incident. What was that? How did that come about? How come you were selected to prepare that report?
Okay, again, sort of that was because of my role at the National Commission for Minorities,
Okay.
and I was asked by the government, the Ministry of Religious Affairs, to visit. There was another member who was asked to join me, but he could not due to some reasons. So then I had to do it on my own. So I went there. I visited the factory. I met the management of the factory. I met the local administration. I met the
Sri Lankan manager.
The Sri
right?
Lankan manager.
Very unfortunate
That was
incident.
very unfortunate. So I met the police, and then I prepared my report. I mean, number one, unfortunate, and this should not happen to anyone.
Yeah.
Going through that, I don't know how his family would,
Yeah.
It
breaks
awful.
our hearts, and
It
I
does,
speak
it
for
does.
most of the Pakistanis. That
Exactly.
was an uncalled for and a very unfortunate incident.
Exactly. And Farooq, my findings over there were that if that incident had been dealt with professionally when it started,
It could have been avoided.
it could have been avoided. He should have been removed from the factories straight away.
Regardless.
Because what had happened, the issue started, the factory management came into it, and it was resolved. It was all, fine, it's finished. He was there, and the person with whom he had the clash, he was there, and then it escalated again.
Escalated to that level.
He should have been removed. The police initially got involved. The police should have removed him. They should not have left him over there. They went away, and then this thing happened. And when this thing happened, I think, and again it is sort of mentioned in my report and I've circulated it within the government, that the police then did not have the resource to manage the mob. They were then overwhelmed. Right? Even they asked for police forces from the adjoining districts, but the mob was so charged that if they had tried to stop it, there would have been even more loss of life and property.
Okay.
Right? So by that time, the police were overwhelmed and they couldn't have done anything. And he had already died by the time the police. Police.
Yeah.
So I mean, one of the a couple of recommendations that I gave is, number one, that the resilience factor of our police should be increased. Their capacity, to deal with situations like this, conflict resolution, managing conflicts, how to handle a mob, knowing the psychology of the mob and how to sort of act, that should definitely be done.
And those were the suggestions.
Those were the suggestions. Okay. Again, sort of resources and equipment. I mean, the police lacked resources and equipment. I mean, they were not resources. And the other thing was, what can we do to deal with mob mentality?
Yeah, that's the main question.
That's the main
mob
question.
mentality.
The mob mentality, and you might have heard this term, justice vigilante, where the mob thinks that it's now their moral duty, authorized to sort of, so that is one thing I think that we need to focus on, and I've been stressing on this quite a lot. We, as a nation, as the state, we are very good in reacting, but we are not good in preventing.
Or preempting,
right? Once an incident happens, we are all over it. We'll do this, that person will be arrested, lots of commitment, and things even happen. But the person that has gone is not going to come back. Right?
That's a loss of life.
That's a loss of life. So my question, and it still remains, is what is it that we are doing to prevent these incidents from actually happening?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, our approach is firefighting, not preventing it.
Fair enough.
And I think that is where we need to, when we talk about this whole idea of interfaith dialogue,
or interfaith harmony.
That is where I think we need to bring it at the grassroots level.
Okay.
Right? And we are very good at holding these interfaith dialogues in 5-star hotels. It's the same people who get together. It's the same people. I use the term quite a lot. It's preaching to the converted. Right?
You need to go and preach to the unconverted.
Sort of, we talk to each other, we meet and we eat, and that's it. Where the incident or where these things happen, the dialogue hasn't trickled down over there.
To that grassroots level.
To the grassroots level.
No, but Albert, tell me, our flag, the Pakistani national flag, it has two colors, green and white. And white, obviously, white represents the minorities, right? And so you can see the significance attached to the minorities in Pakistan. They are an equal part of Pakistan, and they've been given representation in the flag. And in the words of the great Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, I remember once he said that, you can go to your places of worship, you can continue with your lives and your faith, but at the end of the day, we are all Pakistanis and we have to stay united.
Yeah.
That was the crux of that message. Do you think that enough efforts are being made throughout, or have they increased over the last few decades? As you mentioned, there was a more of a need. Do you think enough is being done to address this issue of, if there's a sense of disparity prevalent in the minorities, is the government have the successive governments done enough to counter that?
Farooq, there are two things. Number one, when we talk about the Qaid's speech of 11th August 1947, I think we have quoted this speech so many times. I mean, I can literally, replicate it, the whole speech, and not only me, lots of people, a lot from our community, from the Hindu community, from the wider Muslim community. But the problem is, we have focused on the letter of it. We have not focused on the spirit of that, and that is, I think, enough letter. Let's focus on the spirit of it. And when I look at the Qaid's speech, he was not speaking to the minorities, he was speaking to the whole of Pakistan. You know, when he said that we are all equal, we are all equal as Pakistani nationals, right? And I don't like this term that the minority day which is celebrated on 11th of August. You know, my take on that is that it should be equality day.
ठीक है, that's a good concept. Good concept.
You know, we've talked about Qaid's speech a lot, but we focus on the letter and not the spirit of it. And I think the spirit of it is equality all across Pakistan and all Pakistani citizens being equal. And one thing that I don't like personally is the usage of word minority. I mean, I've been using this word quite a lot, but that is something that I think we can
do away with, come up with a better term.
Better term.
Which synergizes.
Exactly, and I think why not Pakistanis?
Yeah.
I mean, simple. I mean, that is it. You know.
I agree.
And I think one of the things which has been attached with the Qaid speech of 11th August that we, since the last 10, 12 years, we celebrate the Minority Day. Again in this. The spirit of but I think we should be celebrating Equality Day. It's not just the minorities who should be celebrating that. Qaid's speech was for everyone. We should be celebrating it at a national level. All Pakistani citizens should be celebrating it and celebrating it as an Equality Day rather than the Minority Day.
Have you given this suggestion?
I have floated the idea.
National Commission?
I have floated the idea, but yeah, some people like the word minorities.
Okay, fair enough. I'm sure a lot of thinking would be at the moment also going into that thought that you are mentioning. We have a lot of we have a youth bulge in Pakistan,
yes,
right? We have about 70% of Pakistan is
almost
youngsters.
Youngsters, exactly.
And obviously we have a lot of youth coming from different sects also, right? And as you mentioned, minorities sect also. Is there any effort being done to bring them into the national narrative and national stream, and so they can contribute to the growth of Pakistan?
Very interesting, and a question or a topic that is very close to my heart, and it's because I've gone through that process. As a young person, I have always. When I relate myself as a Pakistani, and I think we should have a similar spirit in the youth that is coming now. It is said that we are 3%, in the total Pakistan's population, the Pakistanis of other faiths. Let's put it in that way. And I usually give this challenge to my youth that either you want to be the part of the 3% or you want to be the part of 65%.
Okay.
65% is the youth of Pakistan.
Yes, 68%.
So 68%, whatever. So that is my challenge to them. Don't consider yourself as part of the 3%. Consider yourself as part of the 60 or 70% of Pakistan.
That's a very good point.
And you would only have that sense of nationalism when you think yourself at that level.
Fair enough.
And I think that is one thing that we should be doing. I mean, I personally, I've been working on this through a project which is called SALT, which is Social Awareness and Leadership Training. And one of the core projects or the flagship projects of this initiative is Let's Think National.
Let's Think National.
Let's Think National. And this is focused on the youth coming from other faiths of Pakistanis and bringing them into the national mainstream, bringing them together and discussing the national issues of Pakistan, not just the issues of Christians or Hindus. Come, let's sit and talk about CPEC. Come, let's sit and talk about environment.
About all the critical issues that Pakistan faces or the potential issues which can take Pakistan to the next.
Exactly. Why I mean, we talk about, it's I wouldn't say it's a controversial issue, but it's an issue of, the forced conversions or underage marriages. So my point is, why should we just be talking about the Hindu girls or the Christian girls? We should be talking about every Pakistani girl child. No one should face this thing.
Discrimination. There should be no discrimination.
There shouldn't be, and we should be speaking, for all the Pakistani girls. Just sort of changing the thinking that we should be thinking. We should be looking at the broader, the wider canvas, and trying to be part of that wider canvas.
Okay.
and I share it, and it would still be in my wallet. I keep a piece of jigsaw puzzle in my wallet. And the idea behind is that I am one of the piece of that big
picture.
Big picture. And until I am there, the picture is not going to get complete.
Wow, that's an amazing. Well, you've been a trainer yourself, so I'm sure obviously that's the right way to think, actually.
Exactly. So, and that is the message that we are giving to sort of to youth coming from our communities, is that start thinking differently now.
And that message is trickling down?
It is trickling down. It is trickling down, we are seeing a change. I mean, the change, change takes years.
Yeah.
It takes years because it's not going to happen. But at least we are sowing some seeds here and there, and we believe that we will start seeing a change. And, when we do this Let's Think National, we get facilitators to come from the wider community to come and talk to these boys and girls. Experts who come and talk to them. That is also a way of breaking barriers, coming out of your own comfort zone and interacting with experts, with people coming from different faiths, and talking about these issues. So that is something that we are doing, and we are running another project which is called a certificate in leadership and governance. Again, sort of one thing.
This is in your personal capacity?
This is in my personal capacity.
Okay.
All of this is in my personal capacity. When I interact with youth coming from our community, the children, when I hear about the degrees that are doing and the studies that are doing, it's amazing. Nothing less what the wider youth is doing, but the thing which is lacking is confidence. The confidence to interact or the confidence to work, in the wider community. That is what they are lacking. The thing that, that victim mentality is not going. I mean, it's difficult that we are being, we are not being, we don't get opportunities. People stop us from coming in front. So it is sort of changing their mindset. No, if you work hard, I'm an example. If I can do it, you can do it.
Anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it. So let's not lose hope, or let's not just stick into that cocoon or in your own corner and just think that, oh no, people will not let us do that because I'm a Christian or I'm a Hindu. My thinking is that if you want to be noticed, then you have to come to center stage.
You have to come to center stage, and you have to change the mindset.
Exactly.
Basically.
Exactly.
If you believe you can, you will.
Exactly, and be part of the solutions.
Be part of not the problem.
Not the problem.
Not the problem.
Exactly.
No one wants to be a part of the problem.
Exactly.
Absolutely, great. Yes, that's a great initiative. Because we have to take a small break here, but before we go on the break, let me tell you that Albert has also made a political party, and we're going to talk about that. And how did that come upon? Let's ask Albert after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Sky's the Limit. I'm Farooq Hassan, and I have Albert David with me. Albert David, as I told you before, is a member of the National Commission for Minorities. He's also been awarded the Order of the British Empire by Great Britain, and it's a great honor for any Pakistani. And today we have the honor of listening to his success story. So Albert, before we went on this short break, I told the viewers that once we come back, we're going to talk about the new political party that has entered the arena of politics in Pakistan, and you are the founder of that party. Would you like to tell us about that? How did that come along?
It's not new, but it was, I mean, that was an idea which sort of started way back in 2012.
Oh, okay.
Right? Okay, and again, sort of, my urge to do something, my urge to do something, and that was basically, Farooq, what I was seeing is that again, sort of the minorities, I'm using the word again, they were pushed into minority wings by the mainstream political parties, and their role was very limited, just limited to minority wings, and that's it. And again, the same idea, whether you are Pakistani, you are part of Pakistan. If you are in a political party, you are part of the political party. You know, why can't you contribute to the overall policy of the party? I mean, why can't you become a, let's say, a general secretary of the central executive? And why you should only be limited to the minority wing?
Yeah.
Why?
That's what the prevalent practice is.
The practice is, and I thought there were lots of, very good political workers then who were committed and who had worked, hard for political parties, but their role always remained limited
to minorities.
Yes. And they could not contribute. And I'm sure if they had the opportunity, they would have contributed to the overall policy of these parties. And that was the thing. And that's when I thought, why shouldn't we have, a political party, where these people, these young, people who have the energy, the ideas and everything, we bring them together and we give them a platform where they can sort of, openly, discuss their political ideas. I mean, they can, work on them. And why can't we work as partners to political parties?
We have minorities, heading different political parties in Pakistan, or is this the only one?
No, we have others. We have others as well.
Yeah.
We have others. But I mean, the one good thing was that at that time when we started, I think we were the only second or third political party was actually registered with the Election Commission of Pakistan.
Okay.
Right? Sort of we went through all of that process. And then we had representation from all four provinces of Pakistan. I mean, the bulk of it came from Punjab because, I mean, there's the majority of Christians live in Punjab. So it started. We had a very good start. Unfortunately, due to my official commitments, I had to take a step back.
Oh, okay.
It was handed over to other people who were working with me, but we couldn't continue it. We couldn't continue. It still exists.
It still exists, but it's not active.
It's not very active. Okay. But I mean, we did touch upon some of the issues which were then taken up by other political parties, and they are working on it. So I think I was successful in a way where we were able to float some ideas, bring them on table that were discussed then openly. And one of the things which I'm sure we are going to talk about is the issue of census, the electoral representation of the non-Muslims in Pakistan. So those were some of the ideas then other people started talking about, which were not discussed previously.
So you managed to raise that awareness and create that issue into something that should be discussed.
Exactly. And then sort of, when I became the member of the National Commission for Minority, this is sort of a apolitical sort of a thing, where we work with the government, whatever our political affiliations are, that are one side, we work for the state and we work with the state.
Okay, great. So that brings me to my next question, which is what you just mentioned regarding the census and electoral reforms for minorities. What's the status on that, and what work is being done on that front?
Okay. To talk about the census first, I think as you know that the previous census, I mean, they were not accepted by everyone. People had reservations. I know MQM, they had their reservations. Balochis had their own reservations about the whole census and the process and the results. Similarly, we had our concerns as well. And the concern was that our population that was 1.5% in the previous census, when these censuses were done, it came down to 1.32.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
So that was a huge concern for us, that why our population
is decreasing,
whereas
the overall population
is increasing. So we still have our concerns on it, and we worked with the statistics division, and we are trying that issue can be rectified. Now, I know there are some issues because of illiteracy in our own community as well. People don't know what is happening. They don't come forward and register themselves, or they don't have the full details or whatever. But I think this is the responsibility of the state to make sure that every person is counted. And people have their own, I would say, the things that they might not be able to do it, but the state has to make sure that everyone is counted. The other issue with that is that in the census of 1980, we were the largest minority of Pakistan.
Okay.
Periodically, we are now a minority among the minorities.
Oh, okay. What's the breakup right now?
The breakup right now is that our Hindu community is the number one. I think they are about 1.8 percent of the total population. We are about 1.27% to be precise, okay, which is a decrease of 0.32% when you consider at 22 crore. That's a significant number.
Yeah.
0.32%.
Yeah.
And then sort of its other communities. So we once were the largest.
The leading minority.
I mean, I've been said that, I mean, there has been migration. I mean, I don't see a mass exodus from Pakistan of Christians. Yes, people have left, but it's not to that extent where, you know, we can say millions of people have left Pakistan. No, they haven't. So there is something wrong somewhere.
So have you raised that issue with the
We
government?
have raised it. We've raised it with the government.
Is there anything being done?
We were sure that sort of, you know, this time the enumerators would be more trained, they would be made more sensitive, you know, when they're recording, especially the box of recording the religion. So, and then sort of some of our civil society organizations are working with the enumerators just to make sure that people are registered properly. But I think your numbers really matter because they link with lots of rights that you have in a society.
That you have associated. We're absolutely correct.
Exactly. So that's one issue that sort of is concerning for us. The other issue of the electoral reforms, again, that is something that is serious, and I think it should be taken upon by the government now. We were allocated 10 seats in the National Assembly of Pakistan in 1985.
1985, okay.
1985. Unfortunately, 30 years after that, we still have 10 seats.
Because the population percentage hasn't increased.
But then why has the seat of the overall representation in National Assembly gone up? You know, from 200, they are almost 342 something like that, to be precise. Can we say that since 1985 till this day, the number of minorities hasn't increased in Pakistan? You know, and plus, I think overall as well, I think minorities should be given more representation in the parliament.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But what I've noticed in all the major mainstream political parties,
yes,
a lot of people from the other sex or from minorities, as they say, are contributing a lot.
They are, no doubt.
All the leading mainstream parties,
they are
doing extremely well, and they are very close to the top leadership,
exactly.
And they advise on different matters. And I totally agree with your point of view that they should not be limited to just the minorities wing. They should be contributing towards all the other issues that are pertinent to Pakistan.
Exactly.
For that matter.
Exactly.
I totally agree with you.
So, I mean, that is another issue, and I think it is now time that, you know, the number of seats in Parliament, and whether it's the provincial assemblies or the National Assembly, they should be increased. Just to give you an idea, when we were allocated 10 seats, the population was 2.7 million.
Okay.
The current, the last census, it's 7.2 million.
So it's almost
the population.
Triple.
Triple. So, you know, our concern is then it should be reflected, you know,
in the number of seats that
the
are
number
being
of
allocated
seats.
in the
Exactly.
And that issue you said you've raised with the government.
We've raised it with the government. I mean, we raised it with the Supreme Court as well. We are planning to file another petition on this. There have been several bills which have come into the National Assembly, but they have been, you know, nothing has happened on that. So we are seeing that what is it that is missing behind all of this? Why there isn't that political will to, you know, and it won't harm. I mean, it won't harm, you know, anyone. It won't harm anyone.
I'm sure the government would be definitely looking, because it's a critical issue.
Exactly.
It's a major issue. So tell me, there was a recent news item in the media and the press that there are a lot of jobs which are supposed to be filled by the minorities in the government of Pakistan, government jobs, which are lying vacant for a number of years. And they have not been fulfilled. Is anything being done on that end also?
Very, right question. And yes, this is an issue. The background is that we've got a 5% quota, in the jobs, and that I think it was approved in, I think 2008 or something. But what has happened over the years that majority of these seats have remained vacant. The answer that is given is that we don't find the right candidates or to the right education or whatever.
Yeah.
And because of that, these seats are vacant. Just to give you an idea, last year there was a study that was done and it said there were about 18,000 vacant positions only in Punjab. It's a concern. I mean, when we talk to our youth, this is what we are saying to them: go and apply for these jobs.
Yes.
You know, we are pushing for it. You know,
It could be a matter of awareness also.
Exactly. I don't know if you have heard that the government is taking a special CSS exam.
Yes, that's for the first time in history,
Exactly.
I think.
In the history of Pakistan, I think there are about 200 seats that are vacant, and these vacant seats are not just from the minorities, they are also from some of the, the remote areas of
Yes,
Pakistan.
yes.
Their allocation is sort of, So we've been working with the Federal, Service Commission on that. I think the exams are taking place this year. Again, we are encouraging people from our community, students from our community, to apply for it. I've had very good meetings with FPCS on this, and they have expressed their full support, in trying to fill these jobs. And of course, I think Punjab has the largest number of vacant seats as far as the minorities are concerned.
Wow. Okay.
But again, what we can do is to encourage. And this was exactly said to me by the chairman of the Federal Public Service Commission, is Albert, people have to meet a certain threshold.
Yes.
We can't just pick people up.
Yeah.
They have to meet a certain threshold.
They have to be competitive to a certain extent.
Exactly. And if they do it, wherever we can facilitate, we will facilitate. But that threshold
has to be met.
Has to be met. And that is again, I was in Lahore the other day, and again we were talking about this, you have to, and the other thing that we've been able to achieve is we were able to get the age limit extended, because we knew that lots of people couldn't appear.
Up to 35, I believe.
No, we've got it up to 35 years. So it will not only benefit, the students coming from our communities, but it will benefit the others as well, who come from the remote areas as well.
Fair enough.
So it's hopefully, and that is my dream. I want to see these young boys and girls in the see them in the policy making institutes of Pakistan, where they can contribute, where they can become part of the bigger picture, where they can think about Pakistan, where they can work for Pakistan, and play their role in the stability, in the development of Pakistan.
That's the dream of every Pakistani, and obviously we want every Pakistani to contribute towards the growth of Pakistan.
Exactly.
This is our identity.
Exactly.
This is what we live for. We are what we are because of Pakistan.
Exactly. And just a very interesting thing on that. When I go and speak to youth, sometimes the question of identity crisis comes up. That we have an identity crisis in Pakistan, we are neither Christians, and the West doesn't take us as Christians, and over here we are not taken as Pakistanis. So where are we?
Yeah.
When we travel abroad, we travel on a green passport, and we are made to stand in the same line,
Absolutely.
So, and my question to these young people is, so can you please raise your hands if you have a national identity card? And everyone would raise their hands.
Yeah.
And I say to them, you carry your identity in your wallets, and yet you are saying that you've got identity crisis. That is your identity which you carry with yourself. Be proud of it. Be proud of it.
Absolutely. That's a pride that every Pakistani takes and has to take.
Exactly.
Albert, before we wrap up, just one last question. Over the years, lot of work has been done to promote interfaith harmony, right? We've had different seminars, symposiums, we have a dedicated focal person for interfaith harmony, and a lot of stress has been placed by various governments, successive governments in Pakistan. At the end of the day, any initiative is a success if it reaches the ground level,
Exactly.
right, the grassroots
Exactly.
level. Do you think that these efforts have been fruitful? Do you think they should continue, or should we change the way we think and there should be a different strategy?
I have a completely different stance on this. The way I think, religiosity in our communities, or say all over Pakistan, has increased to a huge level. All of us want to be a very, very religious person, right?
Orthodox.
Orthodox. I usually question this whole idea of interfaith dialogue and the interfaith harmony as well. My question always is that, do we consider each other as equal human beings? Do we consider each other as equal Pakistanis? I always say, let's start working or thinking or accepting each other as equal human beings. You know, let's bring that social harmony in Pakistan. When that comes in, this issue of religious intolerance, it will finish. So the first thing is, let's start taking each other as equal human beings.
And equal Pakistanis.
Equal Pakistanis. You know, my
regardless
religion,
of
regardless,
your
my
job,
religion,
your faith,
exactly, color, caste, creed, religion, whatever. You know, my religion is my issue with my creator. And let's keep it over there.
It's between you and the creator.
Exactly. And let's sort of, you know, he is a creative God. That's what I think. He has made us all different to each other. And I think this is the time that we should respect his diversity. You know, because he's made us different. Let's accept that. We are different. But let's respect that difference. Let's, you know, respect that diversity. To end it, let's celebrate that diversity. You know, the rich culture, the rich sort of the religious culture we have in Pakistan, why not celebrate it?
Capitalize on it.
Capitalize on it. You know, why use it in other ways? Let's celebrate that diversity.
That's a good thought. Albert, anything you'd like to say to the youth of Pakistan before we sign off? And a lot of people would be watching you right now. You are an inspiration story that how a person from a humble background in a small city of Pakistan can be conferred the Order of the British Empire by the Queen Majesty herself. So, you know, I would like you to say a few words for the youth of Pakistan.
Commitment. And never ever compromise on your integrity. Never ever. Pakistan as your first priority. I do that, and I openly talk about that. And I have a firm belief that I will not progress until Pakistan progresses.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Commitment, integrity, and Pakistan, our identity. Those are three things I think should be the hallmark defining each and every Pakistani. Albert, been such a pleasure talking to you after a long time. I wish you all the best with your role as the member of the National Commission, you know, for minorities. And I'm sure you're going to keep contributing towards Pakistan, the image of Pakistan, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you.
Viewers, with this we come to the end of this episode of Sky is the Limit. Inshallah ta'ala, I will see you in another exciting episode of Sky is the Limit. Till then, Allah Hafiz.